Hello, good evening, and welcome everybody to round 8 of South District Wheelers Friday Frenzy. Tonight we have the race from Royal Tunbridge Wells, that's the RTW, to Forest Row. So they're going across the Ashdown Forest, or the Sussex Weald, as it's part of. Here's the route. Royal Tunbridge Wells, going through Langton Green, down to Groombridge. There's a couple of, there's one big climb, then a big descent, along through Withyham, coming up to Hartfield, home of Winnie the Pooh. Upper Hartfield, very good cafes there, a place I know quite well, Coleman's Hatch, and then up a little climb to Forest Row, finishing there. 19.9 kilometres and just over 200 metres of climbing. It should be a pretty fast race, and that kick up, that finish has a little kick in it. So that's the place to keep your legs for. Stay with the bunch until the end, kick up at the finish. That will, I think, be how the race finishes, but we'll see. We'll see what the racers have in mind. And we have a pretty big field. I looked at the list of riders beforehand. We had over 80 riders signed up. There's been consistently really big fields in these races. There we have our Zoom room. We've got quite a lot of the SDW, the guys in the red, black and yellow there. Tom Moss, Daniel Neugebauer, Simon Miller, who runs and creates these races, and Warren Gardner, who has been performing really well and I think is top of the SDW standings. And then we have Chris Duffy in a fabulous look jersey, love that. Oh, he's also he's taking off another SDW, and Nick Greenhalgh, who is very strong rider, has been doing very well in the Tour du Monde, the OTR racing that's been going on at the moment. And I guess Nick is lining up for Tour du Monde tomorrow, which is going up Mount Fuji. So, wow, save some legs, mate. But there he is, looking very fit and ready to race, keeping cool in his vest there. It was interesting, Nick was discussing setup, and he has a very different setup indoors. Most people replicate their indoor setup, but Nick said, you don't need aero indoors, so he has a much more upright position indoors. So there's our start line. I can see Tim Cook there, who's also been doing very well in some of these races and the Tour du Monde. So we have a pretty good. I looked and saw about Hartfield as well, who has won a couple of these races. There's also a very big Danish contingent tonight as we kick off now. As the riders go, all those red bars, there's always a fast start in these races. As I said, there's a big Danish contingent. I saw Fleming Bark on the line. I saw Rasmus Feld. There's Fleming Bark there. Rasmus Feldballer. Paul Watmo, I saw his name flash up there. So it is a super strong. I think you guys are all racing the Mount Fuji. I mean, credit to them. I guess that's the advantage of a series, that people keep coming back. Maybe to them, this is just a warm up. So, wow, that's it's pretty good going to be doing this and backing up in a lot of the other races. So, fast start there. We're just into not quite finished the first kilometre, but already things starting to calm down as everyone kicks off the line with some big power. And now we've got a front bunch, a bit hard to see, but probably 25, 30 riders in that front bunch. Oh, no, more than 30 riders there. I can see 38 at the back there. And I think as the bunch slows down, there's a little bit of a gap there of those guys. If they push hard, they might just be able to get onto the back of this bunch, but they need to do it now. If they don't do it now, that gap is only going to get bigger, and they'll be fighting for the finish in the next wave. So you've got to be with that front bunch when you start. You've got to make it up to them. You can see these guys trying hard. Who's that rider in the orange? I can't see the name. You can see him trying hard to bridge across. We've got Ward there trying hard to bridge across to get onto that bunch. 42 to Guim, Spanish name there. As we hit this, but this might be their chance. Just as they go up this little rise here, that might be a chance for them to get back on the bunch. But you really have to put the effort in now to get into that leading group. If you don't do it now, then they will be saying goodbye, and they will see you at the end. And the difficulty as we go up this little rise is that a few people will start to drop back off the bunch. So you think you're catching up to them, but frustratingly, you have to keep going past them. It's always the thing in a race when you're catching a bunch. Never try to just hit it on the back. You've always got to keep moving up into the middle to make sure you're really secure. If you're not moving up, you're moving back, is one of the axioms of riding in a bunch race. So we come to the front there. There's Nick Greenhalgh in the with the English flag there, leading out, pushing up some watts for Ratio Racing. And gosh, he looks pretty relaxed, doesn't he? Putting a nice, doesn't seem to be spinning very hard, very fast, just keeping a nice steady cadence. A little bit of early effort, but probably just a little bit of a warm-up. This isn't a very big climb. It's just a little bit of a teaser as we go up the first rise. But there are a couple of fairly decent climbs coming up. So we've still got this decent bunch. So even that little rise, I think, has thinned out that leading group. We've got, I can see 20, yeah, so we're maybe back to 25 there. So another about 15 riders who were in the front bunch just got a bit shelled on that little rise. And as the front guys, the top riders, are able to power up at pretty high watts. And things calming down a bit now. So there we've got 37, O'Grady, Ward, Mathiasen. So that bunch now, and Geem there, he didn't make it. There he's 37. Bad luck. Melsweth there to Geem. He didn't quite make it up to that bunch, and now there's over 100 meters gap. And I don't think that's even to the front bunch. So they'll be riding for themselves, and that's often what happens in online riding. You find a group at your own level, and that's who you race. That becomes your race. That becomes your event. It's always good to have people to ride with. There's Warren. He's been doing really, really well in these events. So he's pushing along now to that should be a fairly comfortable high 200, 300 watts. I say comfortable, but that's not really pushing it hard. You can see from the bar on the screen there that he's sort of in the yellow orange, which means he's riding around threshold. That means his threshold is going to be sort of mid 300s, which is a very good threshold. So it's effort. He's going to be sweating and putting in some effort, but nothing that should be burning up too many matches there. There's Robbie Jenko, another very, very strong rider. There's Nick again, Fleming Bark we saw. And that front bunch now coming up to another little rise, just a little bit of a sort of minor down, a minus 0.6. So basically flat coming along here as we come to another little rise, and then it'll flatten out again. So I guess so. There's about Hartveld in the front bunch too. So it's big names. Good luck, SDW. Yeah, there's been really good representation. It's great to see all the Southborough District Wheelers riders supporting their club event. It's a really great thing to see. I mean, that's one of the great things about being in a cycling club. Keith, I know we'll be doing the Tour de Montreal. Stick with them, Philip. Which Philip are you supporting, Keith? You might have to give us more details there. You probably, when you say it, I will immediately know who you mean, but I can't think immediately of who you're referring to there. So here's that bunch behind. We've got 38. Yep, there's Ward, Mathiasen, Paul Watmer in this group. Didn't make the cut in the front bunch. That's interesting. He's a very strong rider. One name that I would have expected, but sometimes you can just be in the wrong place at the wrong time. You're behind the wrong wheel. And that's it. So that's race well done as far as being at the pointy end goes. So bad luck to Paul there if he missed the cut or maybe had some sort of problem. So there's a little group in between those riders that we just saw. We've got Harry Schmitz, Gusarov, a Russian flag there, and Simon Miller, the originator, creator and promoter of these events. And there he is on Zoom cam. Looking fit, looking strong. He's not in that front bunch, but he's got a little group there that's going to keep him going. He will know this course very well, and he will know, yes, away from Simon, thank you. And there's another of his teammates, W. Page there, a couple of teammates. Oh, maybe this is team tactics. I think he ordered the team to come back and help him. That's what you get for being the team leader. Go back and help Simon. So you can see from the dots in the top right there that the front group is already going down. They're at the top of this plateau and they're already going down this quite steep hill, and Simon's group, this group that we're watching, are just about to hit it. So they're now going down. Yep, here we go back to the front group, going down 5%. So that'll be a very fast descent. We're hitting speeds of up to 70 kilometers an hour. I can't think of many places in the Ashdown Forest that I would want to be hitting over 70 kilometers an hour, but of course you can do it in RGT. Yeah, the roads here are generally, especially these smaller roads that you tend to cycle on, generally, single track roads, not bad condition, but can quite often be a bit of leaf or gravel, and bends and so on, cars coming up the lanes that you always have to watch out for. So here's another of our Southborough riders, Daniel Neugebauer. Daniel is in that front group. Well done, Daniel. He's made it into that front group with a few of the other Southborough riders, so they'll be trying to represent the club over the home roads. Southborough, of course, Southborough District Wheelers is, of course, run Tunbridge Wells, Royal Tunbridge Wells, where we started this event. That is their home base. That is their town. So this is a road that they should all know very well. Like a lot of the clubs in South London and the Weald and Sussex and Kent use the Ashdown Forest because it's a fantastic place to ride. So they will know it very well. Little fact for you, or question, maybe you can do it by Facebook. How many towns are there? Don't look it up. How many towns in England are there that have Royal in the front of their name? Royal Tunbridge Wells obviously is one of them, which means that they've been awarded that title. You have to be awarded that title by the monarch to represent some sort of connection with the monarchy. So Royal Tunbridge Wells has it. How many others have it? If anyone knows, send it in on Facebook. Robbie Jenko there. Robbie Jenko, very, very strong Masters rider from Slovenia, I think it is. And Evan Oystensen from Norway, who rides with the 3R team. I often ride with Evan in some of the TTT, the Team Time Trial events. Evan is, a very consistent, very strong rider. Well, good to see him being up with this front group. So we're seeing a few of the names there. There's Hartveld Moss from South British Wheelers, one of our other Zoom camera participants. Nick Rasmus has made it up. Fleming Bark has made it up. Tim Cook has made it up. So there's some pretty strong names. Robbie seems to be going for a bit of a push here. He's got a little bit of a gap, not a massive gap, 25, 30 meters, but he is definitely going for it. And Robbie is capable of doing it. He's not going into the red, but he's doing a consistent sort of 4 watts. It's eased back a bit now, but the gap is going out a little bit. And sometimes in races, you see this in real life as well, sometimes riders just sort of slip away. Nobody's really watching them. It's not one of the it's a good rider, but it's not one of the bigger names. But no, he's eased off a bit and the bunch has swept back and we'll pick them up. But I thought we might have a stealth breakaway for a moment there, but no such luck. And we're coming up now to another decent riser, which we'll keep going for a little while. So that's going to test some of the legs. Philip Riley, results collator and fellow South of France. Is there a South of France SDW contingent? Right, okay, thank you, Keith. Well, come on, Phil. Yes, there I see P. Riley. Oh, he's got the French flag, but he's also got SDW, so he is in this front bunch. So, okay, come on, Phil. Keith is rooting for you. So we're hitting now this slope, we're up to 4%, and we can see most of these numbers going into the red now as the riders have to do 5-6 watts per kilo to keep in the pack and make sure they don't get gapped. It's a sharp little one now, we're going up to 11%. It'll start to ease off as we just get over this rise. It's always difficult when you're in a bunch, you just got to push, make sure you keep that wheel until you get over the crest, and hopefully then you can get a bit of time to recover, get a bit of time to get on the wheel and get your breath back. And we're already seeing in the distance there a few riders, just the ice is cracking, the rubber band is stretching as they fall off the back of this bunch. Tom Moss there, He's putting out, 350, 360 watts as we go up there. It's eased off a little bit now. You can see the numbers not so much in the red now, but Tom is putting out 4.5 watts, 5 watts per kilo as he tries to stay on this group. And he's there, I think he's there about top 10 or thereabout. So he's definitely in there. He's got strong riders with him. Doesn't want to let them get away, but there's a little bit of a gap there, but they can close that down. Come on, Tom, keep on that wheel. Do not lose that wheel. They're coming up to, they've just got to get up to this crest. You can see the profile at the top there. Here's Wout Hartveld, very, very strong rider. He's putting in a bit of an effort here. He knows that if he can get to this crest with a gap, and he's got a 40-meter gap now as we go through the halfway banner. Rasmus is chasing him down. He's alive to the Rasmus is trying to bridge the gap. If 2 or 3 riders can get this gap as they go over to the crest, that will suddenly go from a 30-meter gap into a 150 meter gap very, very quickly as they pick up speed ahead of the others. So we can see it's 40 meters. Rasmus is getting onto Wout well done. Wout has picked him up as he came over. You can see Nick Greenhill there is alive to the danger. He's leading the chase with Tim Cook. There's a few riders here who've seen that danger, trying to shut it down, but they've very quickly gone out to a 70-meter gap as we head down this very steep minus 6% negative gradient coming down, and that gap will pick up. So Nick there is alive to the danger. He's got a few strong riders with him. Tim Cook is with him. So they will be trying very hard to chase these 2 riders down and not let them get away. So they've kept it to 60 meters as we go down the other side of the climb. But already there's a bit of a gap. It looks like we've got a group of, we've got 2 out front. Then we've got this group of 8 who are trying to shut down the break. And it looks like they're about to shut them down, but that will now become the break. And the riders behind, led there by Fleming Buck. So he looks like in a smaller group. So maybe Fleming and whoever's with him can bridge up to this group. And then we'll have a group of sort of 12 or 13, which I would expect will go to the end. So they've got a tantalizing 40 meters. It's hit the flat. Fleming is a very, very strong rider. He has the strength to do this, but he really needs to put in a big dig. There's a whole bunch of Danes there who've been gapped on that climb. They will need to be working, well, at least they know who they're working with. And they've got Fleming up in front. So they need to get up there with Fleming and bridge across to this front group. Fleming looks like he's getting closer and closer and closer. Is that Nick dropping back with 0 watts? Don't tell me Nick's had a problem. Can we see Nick on Zoom cam, whether he's throwing things around the room? It looks like, that's, dropping to 0 watts like that, looks like it's a technical problem. No, he's still riding, so I'm not sure what was happening to Nick there. We saw his numbers on screen go to 0, so that's very disappointing. Anyway, back at the front of the race, looks like the group has, well, it's sort of joined, but it's all over the place, isn't it? Fleming has got onto the back of it. Rasmus Feldballer is in there. Hart is up the front. Who else have we seen there? Francois Lambert from Canada. So we've got a group of sort of 10 or 12 riders. Yep, it looks like 11 riders maybe. And then the Danes behind. But they're not exactly a compact group. They're fighting. Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for the entire. I was looking at that. Go Nick, max effort, please. Well, absolutely, John. But we don't know what's happened to Nick. Something has happened to Nick, and we don't know. So yeah, this group they're attacking each other. They're not a group that is working together. They're not a group that is calmed down and is just deciding to ride together until the end. They are attacking. We're dropping people. We had 11 before. We're now down to 9. Fleming has, maybe that effort to get up has taken a toll on Fleming, because now he's back, got a bit of a gap, 50 meters. His Lambert as well, for pedalers, has fallen back. And Hughes, who was with Fleming that made it up to that group, and suddenly now they've got a gap again. Here's Nick again, back in 21. I can only think that something happened. Nick, he is trying so hard. And you can see the pain there. He is, I guess something has happened, Nick, and now he is trying his best to get back